This is a dangerous video to make because by the time this is public on YouTube, there is a chance that the guy is already signed. He's a free agent right now, at this very moment that I am speaking into the microphone. And there have been rumors and teams linked to this player that we need to dive into here. He's a former Red Wing, former Blackhawk, former, Seattle Kraken. I guess if you really wanted to say that, he's that too. But today we are talking about Joe Veleno, a player whose profile on Elite Prospects says Chicago because the last NHL game played that he had was with Chicago. This is a player who exhibited such an interesting career path in the National Hockey League, and now we have ourselves some rumors as to whom it is that's targeting him. Nah, that's wrong. As to who is targeting him, there you go. Let's head over to the scoop as posted on Twitter by... who was this? Tony Marinaro. Take a look at this. It was from yesterday. I'm hearing the Colorado Avalanche are currently in pole position to sign Joe Veleno. The Montreal Canadiens and Nashville Predators are still in the mix too. This was tweeted by Tony Marinaro, who, of course, is one of the main Montreal analyst, reporter, insider dudes. He has his podcast, he has some scoops. He went out there and posted this yesterday, and so I wanted to make a video about that. Small topic, not really the biggest thing that we need to dive into, but I did think we had to just go over what has been talked about. Joe Veleno is a really interesting name. 25 years old, 6'1", 201, left-handed center left wing, drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in the 30th overall spot in the 2018 draft. Now, a lot of people will remember Joe Veleno because there was a period in his career where folks thought that he could have been a first overall pick. What a big stretch, right? You're hearing that in 2025 and you're like, wait a minute, what? This guy went 30th. Who thought he was going first? Well, here's the thing. Joe Veleno started out his QMJHL career in 2015-16 at the ripe old age of 15 years old. The reason he was able to do this is because he was an exceptional status player, the very first the QMJHL had ever seen. Now we are living in an era where folks that are given exceptional status don't necessarily get drafted first overall at the National Hockey League level anymore. When Joe Veleno was drafted first overall by the St. John Sea Dogs in the QMJHL draft, at that point, all the other dudes who were granted exceptional status had been drafted first overall at the National Hockey League level. John Tavares was granted exceptional status in 2005. He was drafted first overall in the National Hockey League in 2009. You have Aaron Ekblad, who was given exceptional status in 2011. He then was drafted first overall in 2014 by the Florida Panthers. And then Connor McDavid was granted exceptional status in 2012. He was drafted first overall by the Oilers in 2015. At this point, all the exceptional status dudes ended up to be drafted first overall at the National Hockey League level, and Sean Day didn't break that mold yet. He was given exceptional status in 2013. He was not drafted first overall in the NHL Draft, but his draft year was actually 2016. So at that point, when Joe Veleno was given exceptional status, the pattern had continued. It was always a first overall inevitable NHL talent. It's why Sean Day was actually considered to being a player to do the same thing, but he didn't do that the very next season. Valeno was the very first exceptional status player out of the queue, followed up by a bunch of other dudes. Shane Wright got exceptional status. He went 4th overall to Seattle. Connor Bedard got exceptional status. He went first. Michael Misa got exceptional status, but then he went 2nd to San Jose this recent draft. And then Landon Dupont was granted exceptional status. He is torching the WHL as we speak. So Joe Veleno was the second of, what is it currently? 1, 2, 3, 4 exceptional status guys to have not been drafted first overall in his subsequent NHL draft. And a lot of folks would go out there and say that Joe Veleno was doomed from the very beginning because of his exceptional status. It kind of gave him this label that was unattainable because he was never that good. Valeno was a fine QMJHL player, but he didn't really have the best seasons until after he was drafted. You see, in his draft-eligible year and 64 games played, Joe Veleno had scored 79 points, which is not bad, but it's not like first overall caliber in the slightest. Alexis Lafreniere broke 100. Sidney Crosby was well over 100 in the same league when these guys were drafted first overall out of the queue. Joe Veleno then was able to be a 100-point scorer, but that was after he was drafted 30th overall by Detroit. Honestly, I remember that 2018 draft. The fact is, Joe Veleno was projected, based off of the scouting reports and the rankings, to be somewhere in the top 15, top 20 range. But we see momentum happen with these drafts, where a player who was supposed to go top 15 slips, and a lot of the teams are kind of shocked and they don't know how to respond. Hey, Joe Veleno's available. Well, we're here at 23rd overall. We didn't think that Veleno would be available, so we didn't scout him. So do we go with our gut and just take the guy that we were intending on taking anyway, or do we take this player who is completely foreign to us because we didn't think he would be here? Okay, let's just take the guy that we know and we're familiar with, take the guy that we're confident in. And that's how a player slips further down. Valeno barely got selected at the end of the first round in 2018, getting selected 30th overall by Detroit. I'd say that the fact is, combined with the status that he had of being an exceptional player in the CHL, it's that and the lackluster production for a projected first overall National Hockey League pick that played into Veleno inevitably dropping as far as he did in the 2018 draft. And make no mistake about it, Veleno wasn't given exceptional status because the folks in the queue thought that he would be able to be a first overall NHL talent. They simply just thought he was ready, because back in his teenage days, Joe Veleno was super mature, he was able to outplay some of the competition at a younger age. They gave him exceptional status just because he was ready earlier for the QMJHL, not necessarily because he had a higher ceiling or a better upside. That was displayed more so in the Red Wings organization, as it took Veleno quite a while to become a full-time Detroit Red Wing, and when he did, he maxed out at 28 points in 80 games. This most recent season, he had 10 points in 56 games with Detroit before getting traded over to Chicago for Peter Mrazek. The Chicago Blackhawks saw 7 points in 18 games out of Veleno, then they sent him over to Seattle for Andrei Burakovsky, and then the Kraken bought him out. That's how things went down here with Joe, and now he's a free agent. So, thinking about it today, I'm not surprised that teams are still interested in acquiring this player. The contract that he got was a little bit much, but ultimately it's small enough that the Kraken felt comfortable buying it out. And now we've got teams like the Montreal Canadiens and the Colorado Avalanche going out there and expressing interest. Not to mention the Nashville Predators, who could also use an additional French name or two. Will the Habs get a guy who is from Montreal to re-sign, this time with his hometown team? Or will Colorado get another depth piece for what is essentially going to be a Jonathan Drouin replacement, an in-and-out type of situation? I mean, nah, you cannot say that. I'm just saying that because they're former Habs, but the Avalanche already traded away Charlie Coyle too. So if you wanted to talk about center replacements, Joe Veleno would re-sign probably at a cheaper cap hit than he did. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Joe Veleno and his status as a free agent? This is dangerous because the guy could sign in an hour from now, and this video is going to be outdated, but I want you to let me know either way. What do you think about Joe Veleno? I just love talking about this guy and his story. It's a really good blast to the past for me personally. But Habs fans, Avalanche fans, Preds fans, what are your thoughts about Joe Veleno? I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.